What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show from the Valley to the Mountaintop podcast. I'm your host, Micah Gibson. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. On this podcast, we interview business owners to see the ins and outs on what it took to build their particular business. I hope you brought your pen and pad because we have a special guest in the building. I'm going to let him introduce himself and his company. And while you're at it, sir, give us a little bit of background on your upbringing.
My name's Guthrie and I own a business called Ground Level Dirt Works. I was raised in Oklahoma. That's where I'm at currently. I don't really have any college education. I was basically a person who was off in the oil field working, and then I kind of stepped into a family business a little bit and stepped out on our own. So that's where we're at today. That's my background.
Okay, now you said you went from the oil field to dirt work. Now, I know you said that was your family business, but what made you decide to, man, I'm gonna do this on my own?
Oh, I sorry, I thought it cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Uh, No, I mean it's a long story. Like I always wanted to work for myself, but I'm trying to make it, pretty short and everything. But I always wanted to work for myself, and my whole family, they've always been entrepreneurs. And my wife, when I met her dad, he'd been an entrepreneur for a really long time. So, naturally I got along pretty good with him because my whole family had done the same thing that he had done, which was go into business for himself. He had a body shop for 20 something years, and then he sold that and he got into land clearing and building ponds, so like dirt work type of stuff. He did that for like 17 years. And once I met my wife, I basically started working for him, and he wasn't ever busy enough to keep me on full time for very long. And I worked for him for like 3 years, bouncing back and forth between the oil field and coming back and doing that. And then eventually, one day he decided to sell me one of his pieces of machines, and I just took it from there and ran with it.
Man, that's awesome, man, because you don't hear that today from a lot of people that's willing to, because a lot of people want to get into the oil field and you actually left it to go do your own thing. I think that's pretty awesome. Was you kind of nervous when you jumped out there like that, or you was just kind of prepared for it?
No, I had experienced so many financial failures in my life
Mm.
that it literally did not phase me whatsoever.
What? Now let me ask you.
So
Let me go. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to make a point on what you just said. Do you think if you've never experienced failure financially, you ever still would have done it?
uh well, I no, probably not. I was working for a factory at one point, and I tried to get their maintenance position, and I probably should have gotten it because I was a pretty skilled person. Um, and had I gotten that job and had a cush job, it probably would have been really hard for me to leave a job like that because I think that the fear of the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it keeps people from doing a lot. Like, if you want my honest opinion,
Mm-hmm.
um, because like I'd always had the plan to start my own business, but had I had a steady job, I probably would have, been like, oh no, I've got this steady paycheck coming in every week and or 2 weeks, and I can't give that up. So, and then it gets more complicated when you get married and have kids because then you've
Mm-hmm.
got responsibilities and you just get, the fear can add up if you were to let it. Um, and again, I'm not like a huge mindset, like inspirational type of person. I'm just kind of talking about
Mm-hmm.
my perspective. So, which is worth $0.
You would be surprised, man, who actually sit back and watch you. And I mean, by you making business moves, I mean that's motivating to me to actually watch guys that just go out there and just get it done.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I could tell you all about the oil field. I mean, my grandpa, he owned 32 oil wells, and I've
wow.
worked several different oil field jobs, and so I was basically raised in the oil field. So, I mean, when I was 14 years old, I was helping my grandpa on one of his workover rigs that was
Mhm.
working on a well he had, and breaking rods for them. So, like, I know a lot about the oil field, but when you get married and have kids, I don't care what none of them guys say, it ain't worth it. And it might make a lot of people upset on TikTok because I don't know who all would reach. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I'm just saying, like I was on the drilling rigs. I mean, I did frack, I did flowback. I mean, I've pumped wells. Like I've helped my grandpa do his wells. Like I've seen the business side of it, calculated, like what the MCF is bringing in and all this stuff. But I'm telling you right now, like it's just you got to be gone like that. It's just not worth it. It really ain't,
That's
in my
true.
opinion.
That's true, man. Because family is everything, and you can make all that money if you're not home. It's not. You're right. It's not really worth it.
Yeah,
Now,
and what's crazy is in today's world they don't really even pay all that much. Like
oh
I mean, I
wow,
was making pretty good out there, but it's there's jobs in my local town that almost pay as much as some of the oil field stuff now.
wow, man, that used to be the bread and butter years ago. Oil field, oil field, oil field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, in your business, how did you go about starting to get clients?
Well, I've got the luxury of falling back on my father-in-law because
Mm-hmm.
he's done it for so long. So, like, when I first started, I literally was just like he would have been like the general contractor, and I'd have been a subcontractor. So I was just working the bulldozer on his jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and I had that to fall back on. And then what I did is I just started telling people that I had a bulldozer on Facebook, and then one thing led to another.
Wow.
I was like, hey, look, I can teach myself how to do a skid steer. And then, I went from a skid steer to being like, hey, I've been watching people do concrete on YouTube. I can do this. And then I started small. And then all of a sudden, here I am uh, pouring concrete quite a bit and doing dirt work and doing like erosion control and hiring people to help me part time and paying them good. But I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just saying it's been a pretty crazy journey. So everything you see is not because I am amazing. It's because God has helped me learn and increase my skill set at a rapid pace. And whether you want to, debate that or not, that's a supernatural feat. Um, and I'm not foolish enough to not recognize that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
basically all just things that He has spoken to me
Mm-hmm.
in dreams and just give me guidance through the Holy Spirit. And I've acted on those things. And then, just over Christmas break, he gave me a list of 3 things to do. And I was like, all right, dude. So he was like, you better gear up because 2025 is like, it's coming.
Wow.
I was like, all right, dude.
Man, that's
So,
inspiring, man.
well, I mean, when God tells you to do something, and I mean, a lot of people, they might not know if it's the audible voice of God.
Mm-hmm.
And, people, they probably turn your podcast off right by now. But, but they might not know it's Him. It might just be a leading in your heart. Like you feel like you're supposed to do a certain thing. And sometimes that's where God's leading you is through that. I call it like a pull. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a dream in your heart to
Mm-hmm.
go do something. And you don't really know if it's God or if it's not God. But you're supposed to go that direction and do that. And so that's kind of where I've always been like, hey, I want to do my own business. There's actually I have a goal in life to become a full-time trader. And I've done that for, practiced that for years, but I was always like, God, I want to do a business, right now. And I've always felt like I was going to have another business. And so here I am with this. And as soon as I stepped into it, when he talked to me about it, I was like, it happened like it was crazy. So, I
Man.
mean, I'm not gonna get too many details with it, but
Right.
basically, I was like, dude, this is awesome. So,
Man, it is awesome, man. Now I see on your videos you be working with your wife. Most guys they don't work with their wife, and a lot of times they can't. Is how does that work out for y'all? The work dynamic? Because I seen her also in one video. I believe she was operating a skid steer. Am I right?
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, she doesn't do the bulldozer because the bulldozer scares her.
Oh, okay.
Which I mean, you turn a bulldozer on, that thing is, I mean, it's intimidating. I'm not gonna lie,
Right.
but yeah, well, basically, we're broke, so we got to make money. So it's like you get a concrete float in your hand and you get out here and here we gotta lay this down. That's what it is.
Right.
So that's how we do it.
I got you. Now on a skid steer, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. I love skid steers. I can watch videos all day just looking at them. I'm in lawn care landscaping. I probably would never own one, but I just love them. Now, did you buy yours used or did you buy it new, or how did you go about getting yours?
Should I go back to talking about what the Holy Spirit told me to do? Because that's how I got mine,
I
honestly.
I believe in God,
But
man. If
okay,
yeah.
hey, so well, whether people believe in him or not, he's real. But the thing is, I started, like I said, I started with a bulldozer, and I
Hmm.
did that, so all my experience was strictly with a bulldozer. And he told me in a dream about 6 months into starting my business, he said, "You need to go buy a skid steer." And I was thinking, I don't want debt because God doesn't want us to have debt, which was that was my own messed up thinking. When the Holy Spirit speaks, you're supposed to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, long story short, my bulldozer had a huge breakdown. It cost me like $20,000, and I was out of work for like a month and a half because I
Mm.
didn't have a secondary machine. And so that's how I wound up buying my skid steer. I searched for like a week, everywhere from equipment dealerships to wherever, and I wound up finding a single owner used skid steer that he bought from his best friend. So like he knew everything about the machine, and I just went down there and got it. And it's been a really good machine. So um, yeah, it's without that skid steer, there's times where we're running hard on the dozer, and there's times where without the skid steer and doing like concrete and landscape type of stuff, I'd be in a hard position where I'd have to probably go take a job or market my bulldozer harder.
Wow. Now, when it comes to your skid steer, does brand matter? Because I believe you run a cat? Is that what you run?
Yeah.
Does
Yeah, I have a Cat 259D, and I only bought it because it looked cool.
Yeah, they are cool, man. Man, they are cool. They are cool.
No, I don't know. The more I know about equipment now, like the only answer, like everyone's always like, what brand's the best? And the only answer is which one has the closest service to you because they're all a piece of junk and they're all going to break. That's just all
Mm.
it comes down to. So I'm
Okay.
like, wherever you can get the parts the closest to you at, then go buy that. If that's a John Deere or if it's Kubota or whatever it is, just go buy that. Don't be trying to drive around 800 different places getting parts because if you buy a cat skid steer or you buy a Kubota mini excavator, now you got to go two different places and to get stuff, and you know what I mean. It's just buy all the same. That would be my advice. Like I would probably just stick with cat because cat's pretty close to me, but I've
Oh.
also got the luxury of case being close,
Oh, okay.
so
Oh, that's awesome. Now, how often does rain delay your schedule, or rain is not an issue for you?
it's I mean it's a big problem. I don't know exactly, but like I would say, I don't know, just budget like four days a week that you could probably work out throughout the year, and you'd probably be pretty close on that.
Now, does starting new ventures, does it kind of scare you? And what I mean by that, I seen one of your videos. You were saying, I believe it was your first time doing I believe it was a concrete drain, and you said small job. You said it was a small job, and faith produced you a $20,000 revenue. It was something to that nature.
Yeah, I forgot about that video.
Does that?
Well,
Go ahead, explain
it,
that.
it's more. I don't know, dude. I prayed a lot, and God was like, because I was like, I can teach myself how to do concrete, but all the concrete people I hit up, none of them would help me. And I'm not talking smack on
Mm-hmm.
nobody, but they didn't want. I guess they don't want a competition or whatever. And so I was like, well, fine. I mean, it's 2024. I'll learn everything off YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And swear, dude, there's a few channels. There's like Odell Complete Concrete. They have everything you need to know on there.
Mm-hmm.
There's Mike Day Concrete. There's like Victory Concrete Service. Uh, dude, you can just watch these people do whatever trade it is that you're wanting to get into and learn it as long as there's no licensings and zonings. And so, yeah, like everything. I had to teach myself everything from what percent slope is, like grade work and all that stuff. Because my father-in-law, he's amazing, but he didn't know any of that stuff, and so I'm not saying I know everything because I don't,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm actively trying to learn, and I want to get to the point where I could like build a whole Walmart parking lot. So that's why I'm like, I'm constantly learning. But no, it didn't really phase me when I started that, but I had no idea I would get this many concrete jobs. I'll put it that way.
Wow.
um
Well, so they all come from that one small job. Did you a lot
Pretty
of?
much. That was the first
Wow.
one. I did it for like $0.
Wow. Wow, man. And that's awesome,
Listen, like,
man.
hey, it's a business podcast. People are always like, "How do you get business?" I'm like, underbid everybody. That's how you get
Right.
business. If you ain't got no experience, you ain't got established name, dude. Just undercut everybody. That's the easiest way to get business.
And learn from
Smart.
there. Yeah. And learn from there.
Yeah.
Now, is it a lot
Anyway,
of competition in your area or?
well, I would say yes and no. Like, I think a lot of people have gotten into like land clearing, which is what I was primarily doing. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I need a way to stand out, and that's why I started venturing into like concrete and like hardscape stuff. And I've got like sort of like a landscape job to do this month coming up. It's like spreading rock and creating like a retaining wall border and like flagstone walkway and like a rain gutter with like some surge rock. And then we're still doing the bigger jobs where it's like longer driveways and culverts and clearing acres of land and stuff like that. But I was like, I have to distinguish myself somehow, so that's why I went the route that I went.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I didn't think I could make it in land clearing, but it seemed like there was so many people doing that I had to be like, okay, if I primarily rely on land clearing, it's going to be really hit or miss for me, and I'm going to have to go out and forge my own path somehow. So that's how I chose to do it.
Yeah, because I see in my area, man, I'm talking about you pull up to a red light, it's three guys with a skid steer, and everybody's land management, land clear, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, that's just the, I guess it's
I
just the,
can I can talk a little smack and just say that if somebody's just got a skid steer, a skid steer is not the right equipment to be clearing land with.
wow. You let these guys
It's
down
not.
here, let them tell it. That's all you need.
Yeah, well, people are like, "Oh, it's awesome because you can mulch it up." Then they realize there's stumps in the ground, and I
Okay.
have personally, and this is not a brag, I personally been paid thousands of dollars on my bulldozer to come clean up behind a mulcher at a subdivision, and
Wow.
it's not a good product. But anyways, I'm not talking smack, but what I'm saying is that it was sort of like the new pressure washing business.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
everyone, and I'm not. If someone has went out and bought one, like I'm wishing the best to them. I'm not saying anything bad. Um, I don't personally have a mulcher on my skid steer because I didn't want to go that route. I don't want to put my skid steer in the trees. Um, but anyway, so like everyone got into it because that was pretty trendy and you can make good money. But then you realize that the maintenance is insane, and like you've got all these business expenses that I think a lot of people didn't account for. And
Mm.
so I think a lot of people went in and out of business on it, and some people have done pretty good at it. But yeah, that's kind of why I was like, I need to distinguish because there's no barrier to entry. It's like, but what I do, like I just submitted a proposal today. Uh, doing concrete, it's like you got to know how to put the concrete on grade. Like, what kind of mix are you going to do? What's the problem here? How are you going to sell it? You have to have a little bit of a skill set to do stuff like that versus, just go to the store and buy a machine.
Yeah.
So
And I
I
think,
probably
man,
sound a little discouraging there.
no, that's just being honest, and that's what I want people to understand. Like, hey, what does this stuff really takes? Because that's what I thought. Honestly, go finance $100,000 machine, get the mulcher, and when somebody need the land cleared, just stick it in there. Because
Underbid everyone.
right. Hey, do what you got to do to get your foot in the door.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, they all these people they'll post like tradespeople on TikTok and
Hmm.
stuff. They're like, my price is my price, and I'm like, buddy, if I get slow, I'm about to underbid everybody.
Hey, you're gonna put food on the table regardless.
Dude, you're right, dude. If I find out someone else's bid is 5 grand, I'll come in at 3,500 as long as I can still make money. Now,
Yeah.
if I'm busy, I ain't gonna do that. But I
Right.
mean,
Right. Right.
if it came down to it, like, yeah, my price is my price. Well, like, cheaper is better sometimes.
That's true. Now, what's one of the mistakes you've had to learn the hard way in your business?
Oh, hands down, not taking every job.
Mm.
When customers, I mean, unfortunately, when you're first starting out, you got to take what you can get. But
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes, like customers, they don't want to communicate very good and they're sketchy. And um, yeah, that's probably hands down the easiest thing that I had to learn is like it's okay to say no to a job.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just have to take it, because you want to make the money or think it's going to elevate your business. Some people are just the wrong client, and they like I had a bid this last, well, I don't want to say too much information,
I
but
got you.
I bid it for a decent amount after I told them I wasn't going to bid the job, that I wanted to just do a straight hourly quote on it or daily quote,
Mm-hmm.
and they wouldn't go for that, so I gave them a bid on it. And then they were being like picky about everything and like trying to hold me to more than what I was uh, quoted them for, and like they wanted me to do it on my own dime, and so I
Mm.
eventually just was like, man, I was like, man, it would have been better had I just said no in the beginning to all this and
Mm-hmm.
just been like, hey, if you want to set bid, I'm gonna, it's gonna be a lot more. But anyway, so yeah, just knowing that not every customer is your customer. You don't have to work for everyone.
Wow. Now, where do you see your business in 5 years, and where do you see it in 10 years?
Well, I named it Ground Level Dirtworks in case I took a huge job and I couldn't finish it. If something happened and I got sued out of business, I could actually open up with a cool name. Because Ground Level Dirtworks is just the basic name. Like, yeah, hey Guthrie, can you do this Walmart parking lot pad and pour 900 yards of concrete? Our whole parking lot. And I'm like, yeah. And then it happened. Something happened. But anyways, no. In 10 years, I better, by God, have at least one person working with me full time instead of part time. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say part time, I mean I got 3 or 4 people part time sometimes. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I would say my goal is to get to where I can pour like bigger slabs, like 200 plus yards, because that's where there's gonna be some really good money in that kind of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
and you're never, well, I mean, I like doing residential stuff, and you can make some good money like that. But like, I want to be able to get to where I can make some pretty good chunks of money and profit pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just harder to profit. Like, say that one job, you do one job and you profit, 70, 80,000 on that. I mean, it takes a lot of smaller residential jobs to add up to the same amount, is what I'm getting at. So, I would like to personally get into like some really cool stuff where like I could look around Oklahoma City one day and be like, man, I poured the foundation for that, the new Thunder basketball stadium. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that is, man. That's now. Let me ask you, who's been your biggest supporter this far, coming this far? Like, who's been your big outside of your wife? Who's been your biggest supporter?
Like nobody basically.
Really, really.
Well, I mean, my father-in-law, he helped us get going, and he's helped us. He's got a bunch of tools and stuff. He's like, you can borrow, whatever you want and stuff. So
Right.
I would say he's been a pretty good supporter. But as far as like encouragement and everything, like, in the beginning, my Facebook post would get like 60, 70 shares. Everyone's like, oh my God, hire Guthrie, to do all this stuff. And then as we start succeeding, and by succeeding, I just mean like as we start landing a lot of jobs and posting them, uh, the support has went way down. And I'm
Mm,
like, okay, so you got to find a way to persevere and find new ways and not be a victim or a blamer. You have to figure out a way to continue to get business. And sometimes you got to get a little creative.
right.
So like today, I made a cold call to a business and they actually were like, hey, here's the owner's number. Come figure out what it's going to take to fix that the next day. So they had chatted with them.
Wow. That's awesome, man. That that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Some people wait on God to open the door and other people just bang it open. Right.
Now, which one you think is better to do? Wait on God or just bang just bang it over?
I think if you know you're walking in step with him, you go take it.
Man,
But
yeah.
if you're unsure about, like a career change and stuff like that or whatever,
Hmm.
that might take a little more prayerful consideration.
Right. You don't want to be out of the Lord's will.
Yeah, you don't want to just like go do something, you know. I've
Right.
been there, done that.
Wow. Now, do you need a college degree to be successful in today's world?
No, I would say you don't need a lot of things in today's world. Like we have artificial intelligence coming out. We've
Mm-hmm.
got YouTube. This is the best financial time to live in America in American history.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like you have everything you need. Like, and the people who embrace artificial intelligence, I've already been using it in my business, and
Wow.
it's already helped elevate my game. And I'm like if you're not embracing these new technologies, that these people like Rockefeller, Henry Ford, look what they did with their life, and they didn't have none of the same stuff that we've got today.
You're
We
right.
have we have the most amazing technologies. We have the most amazing internet. We've got the most amazing in my business, like machines, like the machines that are coming out now. Some of them, the new Bobcat, I think it's self-piloting or you can like remote control it. I'm like, that's insane.
Wow.
Like this technology that we have nowadays, if you can't succeed by thinking outside the box and using some of the things, like you can make money online now.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different ways now that it's so much better now than it ever was.
Yeah, technology, man. You're right. If you can't win in 2025, you the problem. You are the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Now a couple more questions, Mr. Guthrie, and we're gonna get you out of here. My next question is: Do you read any books or do you listen to any motivational speakers?
I used to read all the books, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
but only a few of them have actually been really good,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Okay.
Um, but as far as YouTube, yeah, like I'm all the time when I get a chance. I'm a huge fan of Joel Osteen. He is
Mm-hmm.
like extremely encouraging and positive, and I think that a lot of times we go through life and we need some of that encouragement and stuff just to, just some positive affirmations. And he'll talk about like, positive scriptures or put a positive twist on some stories. And I really like him. I like Sean Bowles. I like let's see, who else do I really listen to? Sean Bowles is probably one of my go-tos. There's a guy named Charlie Shamp I listen to a lot, and yeah, Kevin Zadai. There's a few people that I listen to on YouTube that are really encouraging that I kind of tend to listen to more than others.
Right. That's pretty awesome, man. You're a real positive guy, man. I like your outlook on things. I really do.
I think you got to be.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You do. Now, if you can go back to yourself to when you was first starting your business, what's one piece of advice you would give yourself?
I'd be like, bid it higher. I
Being
mean,
it high.
don't leave it escalate on the table. That's what I'd have told myself.
Yeah.
But hey, if you think you can get another 500 out of a bid it. That's probably what I say. Like, don't be scared, because I think that sometimes when you're scared to quote a job for somebody, it comes off as non-confidence. And I've come to find out that I think that some people, they don't really care so much what the price is. They just want the confidence of knowing that you're going to do a good job and do it right. So it's like, don't be out there trying to rip people off, but at the same time, like, make sure that you're going to keep your lights on, and maintain your equipment and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. Now my final.
actually,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
or if I could really go back and tell myself something, I probably would have been like, dude, it's going to be one awesome ride.
Wow, man. Wow. Yeah, yeah. It's like you don't. It's like, man, you have to walk by. When the Bible say walk by faith and not by sight. It's like if you can just go back to day one and just kind of watch yourself. At times you'll be like, man, I don't know how this gonna turn out, and you fast forward, man, you'll look back and say, man, that wasn't nothing what I was worrying about.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was pretty concerning when someone owed me like 26 grand and I had to pay three people.
I'm sure it
And
was.
I was like, man, where's the check? Where's the check?
And
And
see,
I had to go track it down. Hey, they paid, but there was a few moments like that when I first started that I was like, oh snap,
yeah, but like you say,
I got myself in a pickle here.
it make it a fun ride, man. Because when you look back, it's like, man, that's kind of funny that happened. But in the moment, it's like, man, these guys gonna jump on me. I don't pay them, you know.
Yeah, and it's like at the time, all it was just lack of communication, and but like looking back at it, it's like, well, maybe my communication sucked.
Hmm.
Maybe I needed to be better. Maybe instead of blaming everyone else, maybe I should be a better business owner.
Yeah,
So,
I understand that. I understand that. Now, my final question for you, I'm gonna get you out of here. Uh, Now this is not to put anybody down or nothing like that, but in today's society, with all the technology and all the advantages we have at our fingertips, do you think it's crazy to go and work for somebody else?
uh, no, I don't think so. I think that, man, that's a hard question to answer. I don't want to discourage nobody because I think that some people really want to be a business owner, and I think that some people don't.
Mm,
Um, I've got a concrete finisher who works with me, and he's done it for like 10 years, and he's pretty successful in his career and everything. But like, he doesn't really want to open his own business.
mm.
Um, but he knows a lot about it, So like, obviously, he could if he wanted to, but he just doesn't do it. But I think if you go work for somebody, um, you can learn a lot. You got to press their buttons and make sure that they teach you what you need to learn. Because a lot of people, like, if I was to go to a concrete crew, for example, I have no doubt in my mind that they would be having me do all the grunt work, and I wouldn't really be progressing at the rate that I could just watching YouTube and going out and bidding my own jobs and learning through success and failure that way. And I'm not saying nothing bad about nobody, but if I was to go do something load bearing like a house slab, like yeah, I would 100% take myself to go learn from somebody. Like, hey, I'm going to do some house slabs, but I need to come work with you for like, 5 or 6 of these and make sure that this all goes good, and
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm doing before I pour somebody's foundation and really mess it up. But I've already, I'll already have like a lot of experience by that point. So,
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That.
but no, I think that you should never despise wisdom. I
Mm-hmm.
think that if you think you can learn from somebody and they're willing to teach you, I think you should go work for them. But I think that other people, if you think you can figure it out with YouTube and artificial intelligence and stuff, do it. Because I mean, I'm living proof. I really am that you can. Like, I've never touched concrete in my life. I just poured a little slab at my house, and now here I am. I'd have to add it up, but I probably made over like uh, probably over 30 grand worth of revenue in my business last year just doing concrete. So,
Wow. Just took a chance and just done it, man. Man, bro. This is inspiring, man.
dude, I'm telling you, like, and then I'm putting a bid in today for one, and so I'm like, here I am. I'm in the middle of it. Now I actually halfway know what I'm doing. So I can't be stopped now,
Right.
right?
You're right. They
Like,
ain't
it's
stopping you.
unstoppable.
Right, right, man, bro. That is so awesome, man. Doing your own thing, working for yourself.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, man, do you want to plug your socials before we get out of here? Your social media sites, or if somebody want to reach out to you for work.
Yeah. So my name is Guthrie Clower. I don't release that on TikTok a lot because there's a lot of crazy bots on there. But and my YouTube is Ground Level Dirtworks, and my Facebook page is Ground Level Dirtworks. I'm the most active on Ground Level Dirtworks. I've got a website, groundleveldirtworks.com, and my TikTok is Guthrie Goat. I started it just to kind of troll people, but here I am making some videos. I have not landed a single job off of TikTok, so it's basically just a big joke to me to kind of post on there. But hey, I really will come work for somebody if they hit me up and is like, hey, I saw your videos, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I take my stuff pretty serious and do good work. So
Yeah, man. Trust me, I enjoy your content. I do. I really do.
appreciate it, man.
Well,
But
man, look.
I would say if anybody's looking to start their own business, don't overthink it. Like, just do it. And if you fail, who cares? Like, ask yourself where you're at right now, and like, could it even be any worse? Like, if you did start a business and fail, like, just go get another job. You know what I mean?
Wow. Don't overthink it. Just do it, man. I like that. Man, again, man, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you carving out time to do this.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right. Let's give that guy a round of applause. Like he said, don't overthink it. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. And that's what I think, man, a lot of us, we get caught up in our own minds of, man, what if we fail, or what if we mess up? What if we do this, or what if we do that? Don't overthink it. Just do it. And if you mess up, go get another job. And like he said, man, learn on the job. This guy used YouTube to learn this, to learn that. Then he implemented and he started making money. As you heard him say, he reached out to other people to teach him. Nobody wanted to teach him. So he taught himself by YouTube University, learning for free. Use technology. Use technology to better your future and to better your life. Use technology to better your future, better your life. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Catch you guys on the next one.